So what I'm saying is, lying flat is an art, not that easy to achieve. Lying flat is not only an art, it is also a craft. In order to lie flat, you need merit. You need to be quite lucky. You need to be savvy. You need to be strategical. So basically, just as how it is taught in the ancient texts, in order to do nothing, we have to sort of do a lot of things. Most of all, we need some sort of a wisdom to really manage to do that. To lie flat, to practice Tang Ping, there's a lot of obstacles. I think of all the obstacles, oneself, yourself will be the main obstacle. It will be really difficult to impose the value of Tang Ping in the society in general. Maybe it is possible individually. The reason why we are our own obstacle to this is because we have developed a certain values. And where did we get this value? Through education. So many of us, we are educated, which in other words, it means we are assembled to be a slave of something. So practicing Tang Ping is going to be difficult. Because of these values, because of our obsession to some of these values, because of our conditioning, we will always have this fear of being left out. And there's also the fear of missing out things. And especially now, more than before perhaps, our education really is designed to be selfish. In our curriculum, there's almost no information about cultivating empathy. And when we are selfish, perfection of Tang Ping is not going to happen. When we are selfish, perfectly being in Tang Ping mood is difficult. For one, we are very self-conscious. We have become very self-conscious. I'm not talking about we have become self-aware. That would be good. I'm talking about being self-conscious. Our education, our environment, fashion, just everything, food, everything really assists in generating the self-consciousness, sort of self-conscious, I should say, self-conscious. Of course, the social media, all of that doesn't help. Being self-conscious, you are always aware or paranoid about how others might see you, what others think of you. Sometimes it comes in a kind of a sweet way, though. Sometimes we worry about how we could be upsetting others. That can come also. All this is not going to let you lay flat. If you really want to lay flat, you have to sort of be really savvy and crafty in dealing with these. Actually, if you put some attention, it's not that difficult. In the midst of you putting everything, because you worry about how others see you, how others perceive you, in the midst of all that, even if you have one moment of mindfulness, I'm not even talking about mindfulness in the sense of meditation. I'm talking about just a simple mundane awareness. Something like, most of the people are so busy themselves. They are so busy to think about you. They don't even notice you. While you are so worried about how others see you, they are very busy themselves, worrying about how others see them. Okay, I'm talking about how a right kind of Tang Ping is kind of difficult now. Yes, maybe you could become reclusive. You may sort of end up retiring yourself temporarily. That can happen, but that is just a reaction. Anyway, this is something worthy to discuss, especially now. So much has changed, and so much is going to change, and change very fast. Already I'm on the verge of losing my job. No, but they can just ask ChatGPT about Madhyamika, whatever. They don't ask me now. So already the world is changing so fast. So I think revisiting some of this ancient wisdom is high time, or it could give us some sort of a direction. I have actually talked about this in the past in Taiwan with some of my friends. In the ancient time in India, they have something like a strategy of how to lead a proper life. Managing your life. There's a full of books these days. Managing, how to be leader, how to manage your life, etc., etc. Something like this existed long ago. For instance, like in India, there's this called fourth stage of, I think they call it asrama. And this, I have always been fascinated by that, this four asrama. They say that life should have a sort of 4 stages. They even have a very specific sort of age count. The first stage, they say, I think they call it brahmacharya, which means student, study. This is where you study. Again, the idea of study in the ancient India is quite sophisticated. It's not only gathering information. It actually involves a lot of contemplation. Sometimes I feel that in our modern day education system, we have just too many, all we care about is information. Especially now, anybody who can tell the best story, they are the winner. Information, anybody who can tell you stories, informations, they win. But a student is not only there to just receive information. You are supposed to contemplate, and you are supposed to actually apply that eventually to whatever the knowledge you have gathered. So actually, from this point of view, I think I will still have some job left. This is where ChatGPT can't do everything. Okay, anyway, the first stage, study stage, you learn. And then the second, grihastha, householder. So, broadly speaking, you get married, you have children, you run the family, you tend to your cows, all the family business. Now, these 2 stages, I think we do have a lot even today. These 2 stages, the discussion about these 2 stages, I guess we do have. Even though it has I would question the motivation of the education today. I mean, as a defiled sentient being, our motivation is always limited and always obscured. And now, especially now, education has become consumer good, and this is really sad. There are few things on earth that should never be it should never become a commodity, like a business commodity or consumer good or commercial good. It should never be. Education is one of them. Medicine is another, and then war. But all of them have become now commercial thing. And this is so sad, because basically when education has become sort of consumer good, you are bound to be deceived by, I don't know, marketing, for instance. And this is very difficult. I'm sure a lot of you have children here. And if you have the means, you will try to make sure that your children go to Harvard or Princeton or Oxford, because they have really managed to do their marketing so that you fall into that, just as you fall into Prada, Gucci, Starbucks, whatever. This is where, if you are savvy, if you are brave parent, if you are a savvy parent, this is where you have to have a little bit of a Tang Ping. Should you fall into these stories? And especially your children who are, supposedly they are children, so you are supposed to guide them, right? Lead them. So you have even more responsibility. But this is difficult, I understand. I try to have empathy, let's say I have a child, and let's say my neighbor's daughter has an extra piano lesson. I will try to force my child to have an extra, I don't know, cello lesson or something. I don't know. I don't think I will have a Tang Ping attitude. But it is worthy to discuss like this. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit carried away by this. I was saying out of these 4 stages, 2 stages, the study stage, household stage, I think we have plenty of information and plenty of study materials in today's world. Now, the 2 later stages is what is so fascinating for me. The third one is, I think they call it a Vanaprastha, which means forest dweller. Now we are talking the Tang Ping at the highest level. We have one more coming, the last one, Sannyasin, renouncement. Well, I guess it can be translated, loosely translated as a renouncement. So you have the study stage, household stage, and then forest dwelling stage. I would interpret it something like a retired stage. Now, I know this is very difficult for all of us, including myself. I mean, I have a lot of friends. I know many of you. We are getting old together now. What to do? And sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I sort of like, I go through like sweat, and maybe I should, some of you are sitting here right now. I'm not going to mention the name. I could have told you guys when you are in your early 40s, just retire now. in your early 40s, I'm not even talking about 60s and 70s, early 40s, I should have told you, okay, get a grip, retire from your job. Because this is actually this is the biggest chunk of your life that you should be, sort of the fruit of your life. But I didn't have the courage to tell you to do that. Because, as I said, Tang Ping is really difficult to practice. There's always this what if. There's always this like, what if market crashes, inflation comes, war breakdown, a pandemic arrives, and then my poor friend who has only a few savings, I have already told them like to retire, then what? Now, modern education system have no preparation for this two stages of life. In fact, they are so afraid of this too. Have you heard just recently the French problems in France, early retirement and all of that? The modern education look at you as an espresso machine. You are educated and assembled and programmed together to work, to be slave. And therefore, you should slave till the last drop of your energy. And then, of course, when you finally become so old and feeble, there's whole business of old age folk, like old folk home. So that also has become a consumer good. Look, I have nothing practical today to really, like a usual Buddhist teachings, okay, do this, do that, meditation. I have nothing to say. But I think these are important to sometimes discuss as a Buddhist, sort of value of life. The third stage, the stage of forest dweller. They do that in the ancient India. I think they do that. Probably, knowing India, someplace even today, they probably may be doing it. Now, the most interesting is the fourth one. Because one would think, okay, you studied, your study stage, that's finished. So now you work, you become household. So, okay, there's something to renounce. So you renounce that, and then you become a forest dweller. Now, what is there to renounce? But yet, in the Indian life strategy, there's the fourth one. It's called sannyasin, which is renouncement. I think here we are talking the highest form of Tang Ping or Foshi. In fact, I've also heard that in the past, only those who have finished the fourth stage are qualified to be the emperor, the king, the whatever, the minister, whatever. These values are not something to be discarded as something ancient, altogether. This is something that we individually, we can aspire for. Not necessarily literally, but a lot of the quintessential lifestyle can be adopted.